first meeting between Kim and Putin in over 4 years took place at a surprising location, following the North Korean leader's lengthy journey by armored train. Let's discuss their exclusive talks more with Professor Chung Ku-youn this morning. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Professor, I'd like to start with how Putin waited for 30 minutes to greet North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. Now, this is pretty rare considering he's been pretty notorious for not being on time, right?
Right. So, yeah, if you recall President Putin's behavior during the past summit meeting, such kindness appeared very unusual. President Putin has often been late for summit in the past. So it has been analyzed that it's a kind of psychological strategy to gain an advantage in negotiation with foreign leaders. So now, yesterday's actions during the summit with Kim Jong-un might be based on Russia's desperate shortage of ammunition in its war against Ukraine. Especially recently, Ukraine has achieved significant progress through counteroffensives and gradually advancing on multiple fronts. I think it has been putting more pressure on Putin.
Right, politeness rooted in desperation at the moment. Now, Kim Jong-un said that his regime will work with Russia to fight against the so-called imperialism in the West. Now, can we say that that means North supports Russia's aggression against Ukraine?
Well, North Korea showed positive reaction from the beginning of the Ukraine war, so it is not so surprising to hear North Korea will stand together in fighting against imperialism. But it is a different thing to hear those statements that can be seen as indicating physical support for Russia in its ongoing military operation in Ukraine, which, of course, those behavior will not only violate numbers of UN sanctions, but also it will become instrumental to destabilize the situation in Ukraine. And ultimately, it will consequently, it will connect the Asian security with European security.
Right. What's also notable is that there was no joint statement or a deal officially inked between the two leaders. Now, would you still say that the two leaders have agreed on a much-speculated arms deal and the sharing of advanced technology? Can we say that?
Yeah, it's obvious that both leaders discussed military cooperation plans, including arms deals and trade, which obviously be a violation of UN sanctions. So therefore, official documents like signing or creating documents in this regard might have been a burden for both countries. Where there was no explicit statement of ammunition support from North Korea's side, but it's clear that Russia also has stated that its intention to engage in a space cooperation with North Korea for satellite developments. And North Korea's satellite launches have the potential to be used for ICBM launching and potentially reconnaissance satellite that will watch the entire Korean peninsula, which could enhance their kind of strike capability with more precision and potentially in conjunction with various missile systems. So even though there was no explicit statement, it is obvious there has been kind of discussing this issue. So it will increasing threat to the Korean peninsula and beyond.
Right, because the technology used in making ballistic missiles is exactly the one that they're using to create those spy satellites.
Right.
Then the question is, how and when will we actually know whether or not a weapons deal was made? Because there was no official statement.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think we can actually watch those kind of trade will appear as satellites, actually, United States and other countries has been tracking down those movements. So, for instance, like satellite images could be used to observe the shipment and movement of weapons from the space. And simultaneously, we can verify their activities and kind of trade deals on the Ukraine front lines.
Right, and the North Korea, they also said they will aim for another satellite launch attempt in the coming months. So maybe that will make a difference.
Well, I think it has been said it will be October this year. So
right.
It could be a little bit too soon, but I think in the coming years, there will be some kind of developments.
Right, as early as October. Now, in the meantime, China said of the Kim Putin summit that the meetup is a matter between the two sides. This is not a totally unexpected reaction from Beijing, right?
Exactly. So I think we need to look at the situation where Russia requested support from North Korea instead of China this time, which must have possessed a higher level of weaponry and a larger quantity of ammunition than North Korea. So it may be because China refused Russia's request. It is possible that China did not want to pursue military cooperation on the Ukraine issue, and also including joint military exercise with North Korea in a trilateral format. So even though Russia and China may maintain a reasonably friendly relationship with Russia bilaterally, but at the same time, they do not want like trilateral kind of gathering, which can be seen as a kind of rogue coalitions from the perspective of United States and other Western countries. So in this sense, so given that China is not fully aligned with Russia and trilateral cooperations, I think we need to make an effort how we can put China on kind of maintain kind of hedging positions at least in terms of Ukraine crisis and comply with this rules-based order kind of principles of not to support on Ukraine issue.
Right. Joining that trio may be too much for Beijing at the moment because its interests are not aligning with what Pyongyang and Moscow have.
That's true.
All right, Professor Chung, thank you so much for your insight this morning. We appreciate it.
Thank you.